my crafty friends. How you guys doing today? This is Lisa, Paper Lace and Bling, and I am here to go over our cover. Now, when I did this cover, I was videoing it, and that was one of the corrupt files that my son tried desperately for me to get back, but no way. So here it is. I absolutely love it. And I'm just going to walk you through, hopefully, let's see, put this here so we can, hopefully I can walk you through this and you feel confident enough. I hope. Okay, so, now where did my little piece go? So I started out with, let's see, not these two. I started out with these papers. I mean, these papers, this material, okay? So this and this. So I used this one and this one and this one as the curtains. All right. So that, and I'll get to that in a little while, but that's what I used for the curtains. Then these three were her dress. Okay. And this pattern here is what I absolutely covered the book with. So kind of like wallpaper in the background. And now I first put, and you can see on the back side here, on the three sides of the chipboard front cover and back cover, I covered it all the way to the edge on the three sides. I used the glue all, Elmer's glue all, and also used the spatula. Now, if you guys can't get these, I do have them in my shop. They're really wonderful. You can really spread the glue very well. And I have a Dollar Tree that carries them and pretty much has them all the time. And I know some of you have a problem. I add enough to cover the Etsy charges and stuff, but you know, just in case you guys are interested, I carry these in my shop. They had some new colors come in, so I still have to make, I think right now I only have pink or orange, but yeah, I picked up some new ones. So anyway, hopefully I'll have those on, probably not till I get back, but anyway. Okay, so how I started this is I had some lightweight chipboard. Now this is maybe like 110 pound. It's a lightweight chipboard, okay? I did 1/4 of an inch, and I put the first piece all the way around, leaving just a little edge for my material to come through. So I didn't take it all the way to the edge. That's your choice. If you want to take it all the way edge, do it. I just, I left just a teeny border, just kind of like you do when you're matting a page. Then I took my black lace and I glued it to the top of my 1/4 inch, and, you know, left it, had it come out as far. I put it right on the edge, just a bead of glue, and then laid it right on the edge of that. Then I took a wider piece. So this is, let's see, what is this? This is about 1/2 an inch. This is about 3/8 of an inch. So I took another piece, about 3/8 of an inch, and the reason it's that size is because I wanted to use this ribbon. And I didn't want the ribbon to, you know, not almost fill the whole space in, where if I would have used this 1/2 inch, it would have been way too much. I took my black, and one of these sides had a little coating on it and the other side didn't, so I took the side that didn't and I made it black. So hence you see black on both sides of the ribbon. I don't think you can see it from where you are, but let me give you a close-up. So there is the lace, and then this is a 3/8 inch, maybe just a little bit more because I think my ribbon is actually 3/8. But I really like that. And you see right there in the between the two pieces, you can see a little bit of it on the top and a little bit of it at the bottom. And then there's the other side. So it's not the same amount on any side. This is pretty close, but so that built me up so I had room to put all of my bits and pieces, you know, in there so it looked recessed. You can build it up a little bit more. I didn't want it so built up that it made the sides look, you know, huge. So I'm happy with the buildup that I have here. It's maybe 1/8 of an inch. Okay. On the paper, this is literally just the paper from the yeah, whatever you call this thing, the paper line. But I wanted to show you when I ripped this, I wanted to see some of the ripped torn paper, and then I wanted it to be some that was not that white streaky, you know, that white bit. So I went from corner to corner, and some of it I pulled up with my right hand. Boy, this is not regular paper. Some of it I pulled up with my right hand, and so you can see there where it has pulled the top off but left the bottom of the paper. And then I would do a little bit with my left, so I don't have any there, but I have some on this page. And then I did my right again for, you know, not necessarily the same amount of distance. And so that way I had a more interesting piece on both of them, okay? So that's how I did my papers, just kind of left and right, just to give it some different looks to it. And then I took them and moved them around. I didn't like put the left and the right side here and the right and the left side here. No, I kind of moved them around to get the layered look, but all of them be different. And that was what I really wanted. Now, the top one here is actually on a piece of this thin stuff because it was going to be taking the brunt of, you know, when you put the book down or slide it into something or whatever, it was going to be taking the brunt, and I wanted it to also give this paper a little more support, if you will, because I did around the edges, I didn't glue it too close to the edge because I do like that they definitely look like layers. There's no separation between each layer, but because I didn't glue them down on top of each other, I only glued on the edges. They do kind of separate, so it's kind of neat, I think. Okay, so the next thing that I did, and let me just tell you first, I think, yeah, the top one was a 3-inch square. Okay, so I had 2 3-inch squares that I put on the lightweight chipboard and then ripped the left and right like I showed you. And then the 2 other pieces, they ran, I have to remember here now. Yeah, I think they were like 4 by 5. one of them was 4x5 and one of them was 4x3.5. And I think the largest one was 4x5 and this purple one was 4x3.5. So, you know, that you can do it however you want, and you're just going to mix and match them. Some of them I took off a little bit more. Some of them, you know, I left just the way they were, but I wanted it to look different. And then before I put these down, I did glue down my 3 pieces of my curtain, just right in here. And then I glued down my my papers. I put the door, and I have this little piece of board back here that's like the baseboard. I don't know why I did it, but I did. I just, you know, thought that looked kind of cool. Okay, for her, I had like 5 of these. And I just looked at it and separated out the pieces. She has an apron. So I cut out on one of these, I cut out the apron. She has a dress and then a petticoat, you know, or whatever you call those things that are down underneath there. And so I cut those pieces out. Now, when I was cutting pieces out that I knew I was going to have to slide under, but yet here they weren't, you know, they're just, they're not physically in layers here. So here they were. So you have to make the pieces that are sliding up under a little bit longer so that the next pieces have something to lay on top of. So it is making the visual of layered and you know, more body to the dress and that kind of thing. So the different pieces, I just tried to figure out, you know, they're going to be rustling, they're going to be something's going to lay on top of the other one. The only one I did was, as you can see here, this piece of the dress is missing, and that's literally what this piece is. And I did try, I am not exactly sure where it ended up. But anyway, I do have a little piece here, and I can cut. I was going to see if I had a piece that I did that I didn't end up using, because I cut it out twice, but of course I cannot find it, and that would have been like super nice to have, so I wouldn't have to do one again. But anywho, okay, so like here is her arm that I cut out. Well, the part that you're going to see is below the sleeve. Here's the sleeve. But in order to have something to glue the sleeve to, I left the arm up a little bit. The sleeve is out of this material, and I took probably a 2-inch by 1-inch piece, and I just took my needle and thread and just went doop 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 in and out and made a ruffle. Okay, that's basically all I did. And if you can see that right there, that is the ruffle I did. And then I just glued the other side on top of the bodice. Now, if I had, I don't know that I have one that has the bodice. See, I cut bodice out. Yeah, I think this is the piece that I cut the bodice out on. But you can kind of see, here's the bodice right here. And it has a little cap over the puffy sleeve. So it's got a little cap, which is the only thing that's left right there. And it's over a puffy sleeve. So I do have the little cap wrapped up and comes around this puffy sleeve. I'm trying very hard not to mess up my hair. That is doll hair. and I'll get to that in a minute. I did take some markers and tried to give her a nice skin tone. And when I didn't put this arm down until after I had all the skirt and the apron so that the arm would sit on top of the skirt and the apron. Again, when I cut these out, I cut the skirt pieces a little longer so that I could get them underneath the arm and actually support the arm. Okay, so that is what's supporting the arm. Now, when you go to do a piece, now what did I do with the little piece of material I just had right here? So say I've got, let's see, I'm just gonna grab one of these little pieces here so I can show you. So this was what I cut out for the underskirt here, okay? But I'm just going to cover it with this little piece that I have just so you can see how I did it. All right, let me go ahead and cut some of the extra off here. Wrong scissors. Okay, so what you do, and I used Fabri-Tac, but if you have glue all will work. If you have the art glitter glue and that's all you have, the art glitter glue will work. I just have to wait for my Fabri-Tac because I don't have any refills or anything right now. I've got to, last time I went to Walmart they didn't have it, so it was like, well, very nervy of them. Okay, so I put some glue down and I looked at my pattern and I placed it, you know, where I wanted the pattern to be. Of course, I didn't use this piece of material on this, but it's just to give you the idea of how I did it. I did not rub this down. I just kind of somewhat pushed it a little bit. So now let me get some scissors out, and you're going to cut your material all around, and when there's a different shape to the curve, then you're definitely, that's where you want to cut. If it's long straight, you don't have to do that many cuts because it will just lay over and there's no problem. Okay, then we don't need all of this. They just need to be fairly small. Okay, so there I have all my little cuts, and I'm going to get my Fabri-Tac again. I put the Fabri-Tac on the material, and instead of on the chipboard, because then if it's overlapping and I only have glue on the chipboard, it's not gonna catch. So if I have the glue on the pieces of material, it's just better. Okay, so as I do this, I'm just gonna push over my different pieces. Now, if I get, like here, I don't need, let me bring you guys down here. Okay, so here, I don't need all of this excess, and it's just going to come over the edge anyway. So I'm going to snip that off and then lay this over. And then this one, see, now this one I did not give it enough cuts, so it wouldn't have gone over this. And I'm going to go ahead, sometimes in the corners, you just need to cut off a bit of the excess. And then you're going to push that over. So this corner would have been one where had I just put it on the chipboard or whatever, what cardstock or whatever you're using at the moment, I wouldn't have had anything grabbing the glue because there wouldn't have been any glue there. So we're just going to keep I'm sorry. This little corner right here is several layers, but it's not very heavy on the layers, so I'm not worried about it. It's just, you know, little pieces that are actually overlapping, because you don't want to build up the bulk, because then it's not going to lay down smoothly enough. Okay, and here we definitely have some excess that we don't need. So I'm going to cut that off and then see where I sit. There we go. Now if you do have a little piece that's sticking off, go ahead and just give it a cut. And then there is my piece. And it looks very nice. I let them dry completely before I put them on. But then this would have gone right there, but underneath. Okay? So what I did was I had a whole one of these. I had a whole one of the girl cut out, just from toes to the top of the head. And that is what I added everything else to. Okay, so now the apron is just the cut apron, but the little pockets, I had triangles, and I folded, can you see the little pockets here? Yeah, so I had a triangle, and I folded the points of the triangle in, and then folded the point on the bottom under. After I put Fabri-Tac right on the edges, okay? So I folded those under, and I folded the point under a little bit, and then I just pinched it down, leaving a handhold in there. But, you know, and then this one I kind of tried to carry around the front of her so that it looked, you know, so it works. So that's that. For her head, this is just one layer. I didn't do anything else there. Now, if you don't have doll hair, you can totally do this just by cutting bits and pieces. See, let me show you this piece. Okay, so on one of them, I cut out the entire head of hair. And then on another one, I cut out bits and pieces from the center of the hair. And then on this one, I cut out some other pieces, okay? And I colored them using like 3 or 4 colors. So I was kind of oranges, light oranges and golds to kind of make the strawberry blonde look. I don't know, it's more orangey than that, but it was going for a blonde, and so I did that, but I can't find it anywhere. It probably got thrown away. All my organizational stuff going on, right? See, I need to be more organized. So totally. But anyway, I had this doll hair, and I just started on the back end and moved forward and just brought the last piece around. I cut off a little piece to give the crown of the head a little bit more shape. And then I took some of the odds and ends because they were quite a bit longer than what you see here. So then these little pieces right up front are some of the smaller bits that I just took and tucked up under there. Okay, so that's what I did with my hair. This arm just slid right up underneath there. Again, I just made it long enough. And I put glue where it looks like she has a hold of the curtain. I just put glue right up in there and pulled that curtain up in there. And the door is just from the chip piece stuff, and I just stuck it back there. The key is a very tiny little brass key that I had. I had some really cute keys, but I wanted it to be really, really, really as small as I could. And you could still see it. If I made it any smaller, I'd think you would go, what is that under her hand? So, and then after I finished the bodice and the sleeve, you know, I put the sleeve on the arm and slid it up underneath the bodice and then glued the cap down. And then I glued the arm onto all of the pieces. On her legs, can I move this out of the way so I can get her legs in here? These are just the white pieces. I took some gray and just kind of put in some shadows. I don't know if you can see those or not. And then I took a light green color and I made the stripes just like she has. I don't know if you can see those or not. Kind of washed out with my light. There. Yeah, and that's just hand done pencil work. The shoes, when I cut the legs out, I cut this piece longer and I cut this piece longer so I could get them the way I wanted them up underneath her dress. But when I cut the feet out, I cut them much smaller than the shoe so I could just put the shoe on afterwards. And so that's how I got the shoe that way. And I finger pressed a little bit of the first curtain. I just finger pressed a little bit in that, and then the rest of it was laying out. And then I just tapped down the blue where I wanted it. I just wanted a little bit of it showing, and then I tacked down this piece. I wanted this rosette and the ensuing vine to be front and center for that. So it took a little bit of finagling, but I got it. And then I just tucked the end down up underneath this corner piece. So that is my cover, guys. If you have any questions, please let me know. Let me pull you back out again. There we go. Yeah, if you have any questions, just let me know. If I didn't cover something well enough or whatever, I will be glad to do whatever I need to do for you. Like I said, I'm very sorry that it was lost because it was quite the event. But anywho, thanks for joining me, guys. I hope you got something out of this and that you love my cover. I love my cover. Talk at you guys later. Till next time. Bye. I did forget one thing. The curtains. So what I did for the curtains, I had a piece of this, and all I did was like fold, fold, and fold. And then I'm sorry, let's try that again. I folded it, and then, you know, just a kind of an accordion fold, back and forth. I think I, got 4 folds in it. And then I pinched it and ran my finger across it. You can also use your bone folder, and it's called finger pressing. So I did that to this piece, and that's how this, you see, it looks like it's folded over. And so that is where I got the first little bit of curtain that you see. Then this piece with the blue, I knew I didn't want a ton of it to show, but it has this little metallic stitching in it, and it's just kind of a nice sheen anyway. So I took, it was about this size, and I glued each one of them underneath here. I glued each one of them together and then waited for it to completely dry. So obviously I did it before I put the corners on. So then the blue, I worked that and glued it down where I wanted it to be. And then this piece, I knew I wanted to have, you know, the end to really look nice. I made it a little longer. I made the blue a little longer than the red because when you pull things back, they tend to shorten up a little bit. So this one's longer than this one and so on. I put this door, it's from the chipboard pieces, but you know, anything that is going to look, you can get little doors even on some papers. They'll have doors, and just put it on, just glue some chipboard to the back of it and cut it out. You know, some lightweight chipboard just to give it a little bit more. I didn't put a door handle or anything like that on it, but I have these little metal keys. And so I put that in her hand because this is where she's a big girl and she finds a little door, because there ain't no way that, I mean, she'd really have to squeeze down to get into that door. And so it was a tiny little key too. I had some other prettier keys, but I thought, you know, let's try and keep it looking the way it's kind of supposed to look. Anyway, I've been playing around. I had this little black cat, and I've been playing around trying to stick it somewhere, so I'm trying to figure out where to put it. But that's what I did, and then I put glue underneath her hand so it would grab this, and then I put glue right in the opening and pulled this bit up into the hand, and it finally dried so that it looks like she's actually got a hold of it and is pulling it. So there's a little view of that. Yeah, so that was it. I figured, oh shoot, I didn't really explain how I did this piece, but they were pretty much, this may have been, let's see, the curtain stuff. This may have been a little wider just because this has really got, you know, these two are just really, really light, soft and airy, where this is a heavier cotton, 100% cotton. So, yeah, and I wanted, when I cut off my piece, I wanted to make sure I got, you know, a nice embroidered piece on there. So I just kept gluing it the way I wanted it to be, and I did want to have, you know, to make it really look like she was pulling those curtains back. So anyway, guys, that's it. I'm pretty sure that's it. Bye.